Niebüll in the north of Germany and close to the border with Denmark. From here on we'll be catching a very small train to Tønder in Denmark. From where on we continue our way with another relatively small train on a smaller railway line that's heading towards Esbjerg. Even though this is a very small regional connection, it is a very interesting connection by train between Denmark and Germany. And I'll tell you why in this video. Join me on this very regional international connection between Germany and Denmark. What's more interesting to know about than you might think at first? I'll tell you why in this video, but for now, let's get this video on the track and let's roll the intro. I arrived in Niebüll by regional train I took from Hamburg. Actually, I took that train until the island of Zeeland to Westerland to be exactly, and afterwards I traveled back. But something where Niebüll is very well known for is the car train station for the cars that go on the train to the island of Zeeland. And that's what you can see over here. But obviously we won't take the car for this trip. Niebüll is a very famous spot to visit many Wadden islands. From here you find the trains to Zeeland like I already mentioned before, and here at the back you can see another train, and that's the train to the town of Niebüll. From there on you will find 3 connections to ferries to other Wadden islands. So from here you have about 5 German Wadden islands nearby. Anyway, there are some spots where you can park your bike as well, and at the side of the station there is a bus stop. Because a lot of people leave their car around here before they go to one of the islands, I'm pretty sure there are lots of spots where you can park your car nearby. But we're not focusing on that. For now let's head into the small railway station building. And this here is the main concourse. It's not big at all. Here on the left there is a kind of basically shop that has everything. It's a small cafeteria, a restaurant, a bookshop, a kiosk. Right next to that there are toilets, and there's even a staffed ticket counter. At this side there are some lockers, but it's not an awful lot to be honest. This is the underground passage that leads to the platforms. I almost forgot where my train departed from, so let me have an extra check. It's platform 4. The underground passage has obviously stairs, but you will also find a lift from and to all platforms and from the underground passage to the front of the station. However, it's only 1 lift per platform, so it's not that much and there might be some congestion over there. So just take this in account, it might be busy here and especially in the summer season. However, for our train today, I won't think it will be that busy. So let's head to platform number 4. And here is our very tiny train that will take us to Denmark, just across the border though. These used to be owned by the Austrian state-owned railway company ÖBB and are known as railway class 5047. Now you find them here as well, and they even have 2 classes, it's been mentioned at the side. Actually, a lot of people were already inside. I was the last passenger to board. I didn't expect that. I even didn't do a proper seat review, but this is the open carriage. What looks actually really old school. For luggage you find the overhead luggage racks and the backends between the seats. There's even a very small first class section, and there are screens that will host route information. But I spent my time during this 18 minutes trip for the first section of this route over here at the very front of the train. This is also the bike area. And apart from that, there are some more folding seats over here. This line has some stops and requests as well, and this here is the stop and request button. All announcements are being made automatically in both German and Danish. No train tour is complete without showing you the toilets, and these here are the toilets on board of these trains. It's pretty old school, you dump everything straight at the track. Well, at least you're traveling a little bit lighter this way. All windows on board of these trains do have a small sunscreen, And what I liked most is that the windows could be opened. At least this one here. And for now I'll just show you some views I had from the train until the railway station of Tønder, what is about an 18-minute train ride. Here, our train is arriving at the railway station of Tønder, what I definitely pronounce wrong, but I think it's hard to pronounce things correctly in Danish. Why is it like this? Because Norwegian is super easy and it's very similar in terms of writing. Anyway, before we feature this railway station briefly and I show you the next train, I hope you like this video so far, or that it's a helpful video to you. If so, please give me a thumbs up, I really appreciate that. If you have questions, feedback, comments, or even if you just want to say hello, feel free to leave a comment. And if you like to see more trip reports about more sustainable ways of transportation, the main focus for this channel is cross-bordering and or long distance traveling. International is the same as cross-bordering. Then hit that subscribe button if you haven't done this already. The reason why the main focus is long distance and or international is because especially when it comes to international traveling, there are so many ticket fares that are not well connected with each other. There's some little tricks that are not very well known. Crossing a border by train should be easier, and this is why I have this channel. But for now, let's continue with this video. And this railway station definitely had known better days. It's not as glamorous as I initially thought. However, you will find 2 platforms and 2 tracks, at least 2 tracks that are located right next to a platform. And here's our next train coming in. This is an Alstom Coradia Lind train. You find these trains within many places within Europe. And they're good regional trains for smaller branch lines. These are diesel powered trains. It's a pity though to see the gravity at the side of the train, but at least there are still plenty of spots from where you can have a good view from the train. At the very front and back of the train you will find LED screens that will host very basic route information, basically the final destination. Apart from that, at the side of the train icons do indicate what facilities are located where. But honestly, on this topic, don't expect too much. What I really like about these trains is that there are huge windows, so it's nice to look outside actually from these trains. And because they were traveling as one train combined, capacity is also rather high. I'd love to see that these trains will head into Germany, by the way, even though some of the platforms and especially for the stops on request will be too small. What I noticed immediately when I entered these trains, and this is something you find typically within Scandinavia, is that what seats can be found where have been marked above the entrance doors. So these seats are numbered, but well, you can't reserve seats, so in that sense it doesn't make a whole lot of sense to number these seats. And it's a very regional train, don't expect too much. And even though you find these trains within many places within Europe, the interior is everywhere a little bit different. This here is the area for if you're traveling with bikes or a wheelchair. Now let's do a toilet review. There is one toilet per train set, and these toilets are also, well, for people traveling in a wheelchair, so they're a little bit more accessible. As a soon-to-be father, I really like this as well. There is a diaper changing facility. What I think I'm gonna need in the not too far away future. And for the rest, yeah, I don't know else what I should say about these toilets. They're pretty fine. Also, on the next section of the route, there are some stops on request, and you will find some stop buttons for those stops on request. The litter bin over here on the left has obviously been placed after they built the train. It didn't come with the interior itself, but hey, if it works, it's fine. There are quite a lot of screens on board of these trains that will host route information, and this is given not only in Danish, but also in English. I mean, these are simple commuter trains, but they're definitely good enough to serve the job that they need to serve for. Power sockets are located at some spots as well, and then mainly at the spots of the train where you find 4 seats opposite from each other, so the bay seats. The other train set is exactly the same. At the railway station of Tønder, these trains do wait for each other, so it's an easy change over here. This train is heading for Esbjerg, what is a terminal station. Not only for these very regional trains that will serve this branch line, but also for mainline trains. The first station for mainline trains is Bramming. Not long after leaving Tønder, we arrive at the railway station of Tønder North. And here is why I really wanted to feature this specific railway connection between Denmark and Germany. It's truly not because it's such a great connection and it has such a high capacity. I mean, it's rather the opposite. However, it's a very nice regional connection. But what makes me really want to make a video about this specific connection is that there's just not enough capacity on the other connections between Denmark and Germany. And I know there will be new railway lines built and there will be new trains soon for those connections as well. But until that time, this is a nice backup connection between Denmark and Germany by train. And if you're traveling with Interrail like what I did, a seat reservation is not obligated for this route, because you can't reserve seats. For now, I'll just show you some more views I had from the train along this route. That's it for this trip report from Germany to Denmark on a smaller branch line. Actually, it's a nice connection. It's definitely not fast. The capacity is quite low. The frequency is not that great either. It would be nice to see direct trains though, although I don't know if it will fit in the schedule. Maybe a bit higher frequency, but that's also very, well, let's see if that will fit on the single railroad line. Anyway, I like this connection. I hope you liked this video as well. If you did so, or if it's been a helpful video to you, please give me a thumbs up. I really appreciate that. If you have some questions, feedback, comments, or even if you just want to say hello, feel free to leave a comment. And if you like to see more trip reports about more sustainable ways of transportation, the main focus for this channel is long distance and or international traveling. Well, we had an international connection for sure on this one. And hit that subscribe button if you haven't done this already. Right now I'm at the railway station of Bramming. From here on I'll go towards Fredericia. From there on I'll take another train to Germany. That's also worth mentioning actually. For now that's really it. Before we really end up this video, one very last thing. In the description of this video you find a link to a map, and on this map you can find all videos as well, but then on a map. And of course you can always subscribe to see new videos coming up, and lots of videos can be found on this channel as well. See you on the next video.